I went from this to this in just over 9 months. Stick around to find out how. Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. I have no idea what we're talking about today. I'm just going to kind of make it up as we go, because it's 80 degrees outside and sunny. This is the kind of weather I came to North Carolina for. But let's start off. Big loud truck, of course. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You may be wondering to yourself, Bob, what in the world are we watching? Well, basically you're watching me walk. And why this is at least marginally interesting is a little over 9 months ago I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes without severe pain. Now I'm out here walking every day. Most days it's between 5 and 6 miles a day. I do try to find some interesting things to talk about while I walk, but some days I draw a blank and we just sort of talk about whatever comes to mind while I'm walking. And today what comes to mind is what a beautiful day it is out here in North Carolina. For those that have asked, I'm in the far southeast corner. It's about 30 to 45 minutes to the East Coast and 30 to 45 minutes to South Carolina. So I'm way down in the lower right-hand corner as you're looking at the map. Southeast corner, that's better. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. As y'all know, what I forgot to say to the new people, what we're doing here, the main purpose of this is to show you that it's never too late to change your life. I slowly got sick over 40 years from when I was discharged from the Army in 1983 because I had gout. Had a triple bypass surgery at age 55. And now I'm out here walking every day, closing in on my 60th birthday. So it's never too late to change your life, people. I know as we start to age, we get the aches and the pains and the little nagging things here and there, and we think it's just all part of the aging process. Oh, well, you know. Yeah, with that little cough, I am feeling much, much better. I feel like the cold is finally going away. But yeah, what I was saying, your parents got these aches and pains and you watched them while you were growing up. And, now all of a sudden your knee hurts or your back hurts when you do certain things. Everything gets stiff and sore. And you think, well, this is just part of getting older. Because this is what my parents had. But it's not. You don't know how good you can feel till you start eating a proper human diet. And then you know what healthy feels like. I'm still working on that. Like I said, I'm a little over 9 months into this, and while I have made great strides in lots of areas, I cannot expect 40 years of damage from bad nutrition to evaporate overnight. I am assuming that if I continue to live another year or two, is what it will take to make it so that my knee does not hurt as often as it does. As I have said many times, my arthritis pain is 95% better, and my spinal stenosis pain is 95% better. But that last 5% could take a while. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes moving forward. Have I mentioned how nice the day is? I'm actually wearing shorts today, so I have even more skin. I got a short sleeve shirt, no jackets, no hats, short pants. So I'm getting some maximum sun exposure to soak up some vitamin D. And yes, there are vitamin D supplements that you can take, and if you live in one of those areas where you don't get a lot of sun for a lot of months, you should probably take one. But every chance you get out and soak up the sun, because there's no supplement in the world, whether we're talking vitamin D, iron, iodine, whatever it happens to be, there is no supplement in the world that's as good as what nature provides us by eating a proper human diet and getting out in the sun. I did that long walk yesterday, and yeah, my nose is still running just a little bit, but it's not nearly as bad as it has been. Now I forgot what I was about to say. Sorry about that, guys. This is not going super good today, but the walking is going great. Oh yeah, I did that big walk yesterday, and I don't think I got to the point where my muscles were stressed at all, because I had no trouble sleeping. I wasn't sore at all when I woke up this morning. No stiffness, nothing. And my knee now feels a lot better today. So we'll see how it goes. Wednesday's the easiest day to fast. It's the third day, and after I get done with this walk and edit the video and get it start uploading, it'll be time to get ready for church. And by the time church is over and everybody clears out, it's usually past 9 o'clock at night. And at that point, it's really easy to just go to bed and worry about eating the next day. So we shall see. But yeah, don't, there's a lot of different things that eating the proper human diet will fix. And I know that sounds like voodoo magic to a lot of people. It's like, oh, well, a diet can't possibly fix that many things. And I don't think it's actually the diet that fixes things. It's eating the proper diet allows your body to get back to its baselines on everything. And then the body is an amazing machine. It fixes itself. If you stop dumping stuff into it, it's slowly poisoning it. And make no mistake, sugar is poison. Grains, same thing. It's a little bit slower acting, but all grains turn to sugar in your system. Most vegetables have carbs, which gets processed down to sugar. And we won't even get started on vegetables that much because there's a lot of anti-nutrients. There's a lot of bad things in vegetables. Now, if you're young and healthy or have never had any metabolic problems, your body probably deals with them okay. But for people like me, they can cause a lot of problems. So just because one person does really well eating broccoli doesn't mean you're going to do well eating broccoli. Again, the thing we're fighting against here is the decades of bad science. I had a commenter on yesterday's video that just, it's a plant-based person. So, of course, they've been taught their entire life how bad saturated fats are for you. We've all heard the same stuff. But now that we look at some of the new research that's being done, and the not just tens or hundreds or thousands, but hundreds of thousands now of N=1 experiments being done out there, how many people can you find on the internet in this space, carnivore diet space? They've been doing this way of eating for 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years, 15, 20. And they all have coronary artery calcium scores of 0. Mine, of course, is not 0 because I've had a triple bypass surgery. I was plugged up already. But if saturated fats were so bad for you, how is it somebody like Kelly Hogan comes back with a CAC score of 0? Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Barry, Dr. Chafee. Wouldn't you think at least one of these people would be showing some signs if saturated fat was actually bad for you? I would think so. Now again, that's only 6 or 7 I just listed off there. But if you start digging, you can find many, many more that have been doing this for a long, long time. It all goes back. I think somebody actually wrote a book titled this. I don't remember who it is offhand. We're about to turn the camera just a little bit so we don't catch Miss Jessica in our shot as she walks by us heading towards the church, because it's Wednesday. Besides being the church secretary and general do everything person, she also, there she's inside the door. She's also in charge of our online presence. And this is about the time of day she goes over and loads up all the stuff on the computer. She transfers it from her computer over to the big computer that runs the live stream. Then she tests it to make sure everything's working and ready to go. So that if you watch our church service on live stream, you get a good experience. But anyway, you would think that at least one of these people would be showing some signs of cardiovascular disease. But it goes back to, I'm not going to name who I consider one of the most evil guys in the world ever to live. But he convinced a lot of people to blame fat for what sugar did. Now it turns out there was a lot of payoffs involved there. People at Harvard got paid an awful lot of money for the day to fudge up some studies showing how bad fat was for you. And because that was back, what was it, mid to late 60s, so we got the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, the 2010s. You know, that's 60 years of bad research, bad science, but 60 years of teaching the standard Western world that saturated fat's bad for you. And that's hard to overcome. But a lot of the recent studies that are being done, and I think there's actually been a couple of them released already, they show not only is saturated fat not bad for you, lots of saturated fat is actually protective. It makes our bodies do what they were designed to do, which brings us back full circle to what I talked about first. It's not actually the diet that's healing you. It's the way of eating, the way of life that returns us to an ancestrally appropriate nutrition level, taking all the carbs out, taking all the fiber out, living on just fat and protein, that allows our body to return to its normal, natural state. And once again, our bodies are amazing machines. They're designed to fix what's gone wrong with us, as long as we're not doing anything that's going to interfere with that healing. And that's why I think my extra 3 days of fasting here have been very good for my cold. And no, it's not allergies. Nothing was green when this started. And here in this part of North Carolina, I don't know if it's the trees or the weeds or what plant it is, but you can definitely tell when the pollen's flying down here because it leaves this yellow powdery coating on everything. When the pollen counts go up, you can see it because it's yellow. One of my solar panels that I was using last year, I still have it, I still use it, but I don't have to because I'm plugged in to the church. I had a little different setup last year. But if you look at it closely, it still has kind of a yellowish tint to it. It doesn't really affect the operation of the solar panel, but that yellow pollen gets on everything and sticks to it. So while I appreciate everybody's concern, this cold I've been battling is not allergies. Some people have suggested that it might be that lingering disease that shall not be named, but I have not. And I was one of those oddball people back before all this stuff happened that if I was feeling sick, I stayed home. Like I went to church on Sunday, but because I was still feeling a little off, I sat in the back row in a corner all by myself instead of sitting with friends, because I didn't want to accidentally get somebody infected with whatever I might have, whether it be a cold virus or something else. I've been doing that for decades. So that's where that is. Like I said, it's mostly gone now. I had just a little bit of congestion to clear out this morning, but literally one good cough and one blow in my nose took care of it. And 4 or 5 days ago it was a half-hour ordeal. So it's definitely getting better. And I had that one little cough at the start of this video. It's definitely getting better. Yeah, get out there, get some sunshine in today, folks. I'm sorry if it's still cold and snowing where you're at, but I think spring, with the exception, of course, this Friday or this Saturday, where it's supposed to be cold and raining again, so I'm having to move the Walk with Bob day. With the exception of that one day, the long-range outlook, long-range forecast looks like 70s and 80s with lows in the high 50s, low 60s. That's absolutely perfect. Warm enough to get outside and go walking. It's cool enough that it's a nice temperature for sleeping in my trailer. I always turn on nights like that, I turn the heater on to low, and if the temperature gets down to a temperature where it's starting to get chilly enough that it might wake me up, the heater will kick on and throw a little heat back into the trailer. Like last night, it never kicked on that I heard. It may have kicked on, but I didn't hear it. I slept pretty good all through the night again last night. That's like 3 or 4 nights in a row. What in the world's up with that? But anyway, I think I've rambled on enough for today. I'll have some more thoughts down at the end. But for now, let's go ahead and cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. That was a pretty good walk. I am going to walk some more after I take my first little break here. But I think I'm done recording for the day. We'll see after I look at this if any of it makes sense. If not, I may have to make a new video. But remember that the proper human diet, I know it seems like voodoo magic or witchcraft or snake oil salesman or whatever you want to call it. I don't believe it's the actual diet healing you. I mean, it is in an indirect way, but it's because we're having the proper amounts of saturated fats and muscle meat, with a few other things mixed in here and there, but primarily the muscle meat of large ruminant animals and their associated fats returns our body chemistry, if you will, to what it's supposed to do. And the human body has always been very good at healing ourselves. You remember, when you were a kid and you got a scraped knee or a cut on your arm or something because you were out doing something stupid. We called it playing. It'd take a day or two, and then you could barely see that it was there. Sometimes if you got gashed up real good, it'd leave a tiny little scar. But even that, over the course of a few years, would go away. That's when we were young and metabolically healthy. And now that we're, those of you in my age range, almost 60, if you get a little cut or bruise or something, it can take days, even weeks, for it to look better. Why is that? Well, because the toxins that we've slowly poisoned ourselves with have built up in our system and are interfering with the natural ability of the body to heal things. Get rid of all the toxins, body slowly returns to its normal baseline, and things start to heal. Yes, it really is that simple, folks. That's what I've got for you today. Don't forget to get out there, be 1% better today. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you tomorrow.